Okay, now we are live. Hello, guys. So we are still waiting for the Scousers, but we have Shine Bhai. Shan Bhai, क्या हाल है आपके?
ऑल गुड ऑल गुड। मुझे स्काउसर का नाम तो बता दो।
अरे उनका नाम एरिक फेरन है and he
अच्छा,
is around
एरिक
80
फेरन।
years. He is around 80 years old, and
अरे
he has
उनका
been
नाम है।
following. Yeah, he has been following Liverpool since 1949.
ओह डैम।
So I am still waiting.
ओह,
I'm still waiting for him to come on the channel. I
हाउ ओल्ड
haven't.
इज ही बाय द वे?
How old he is?
या
80 years old. He's 80, 81.
अच्छा।
And he has two
अच्छा
big
अच्छा।
son यार, दो उनके दो बच्चे हैं मेरे ख्याल से। एक है 60 years का, एक आपका है यस, वन इज 60 years and one is like 58 years. तो
और अभी भी
uh,
लिवरपूल में ही रहते हैं या
नहीं नहीं,
शिफ्ट हो गए?
लिवरपूल में नहीं रहते अब तो, ये कैलिफोर्निया में आ गए हैं। यहाँ पे काफी साल हो गए कैलिफोर्निया आए हुए इन लोगों
कैलिफोर्निया।
को।
अच्छा
इंडिया में
अच्छा
भी
अच्छा।
रहे, 1970s में इंडिया में रहते, सूरत में।
सूरत में।
हाँ।
अच्छा।
हम्म तो
ओके।
हाँ,
मतलब
तो क्या कहते हैं, यस ही हैज वर्कड इन सूरत ऑल्सो।
हम्म। अच्छा, आप सूरत से जानते हो उनको? सूरत
नहीं
सूरत
नहीं,
की वजह
सूरत
से
से
जानते हो
नहीं।
या क्या?
अरे नहीं यार, मतलब मैं यहाँ पे पैसेडीना में मिला था। इन्होंने अपना ये जो OLSC है
हाँ
ना, पैसेडीना, ये स्टार्ट किया था यहाँ
हाँ
पे
हाँ।
कैलिफोर्निया में, पैसेडीना
अच्छा।
में। तो ही इज वन ऑफ द लाइक
कैलिफोर्निया।
प्रेसिडेंट जो होता है ना, जैसे प्रेसिडेंट एक मेंबर का, वो ही इज वन ऑफ देम, ही इज द फाउंडिंग मेंबर।
ओके
यस 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 यस
ओके
यस
ओके।
यस 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 यस।
सही सही। और आजकल लोग वीडियोस बना रहे हैं, ट्रेंड क्रिएटर है या लेजेंड है? आप कुछ सोचते हो इसके
यार
ऊपर?
एक्चुअली क्या है ना, अभी देखो, मैं एक बात बताऊं शान, अभी तो देखो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन हुआ नहीं है, राइट।
हम्म।
पहले एक
या
कोई बोले तो सही, फैब्रियो रोमानो ने भी, अगर चलो आप फैब्रियो रोमानो को मानते हो तो फैब्रियो रोमानो को तो बोलना तो चाहिए कम से कम कि यार, कि भाई ट्रेंट ट्रेंट जो है, क्या कहते हैं, अपना क्या कहते हैं, ही हैज ऑलरेडी साइन द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, राइट। और वो साइन करके फोटो दिखा के रियल मैड्रिड की टी शर्ट पहन के ऐसे खड़ा हो जाए, तब फिर
हाँ
उसके बाद डिस्कशन करी जाए यार। उससे पहले तो मतलब नहीं है ना, मतलब क्या मतलब है यार। अभी तो वो एज ए लिवरपूल पूल प्लेयर है, खेल रहा है वो लिवरपूल में। ही इज स्टिल प्लेइंग फॉर द
या
लिवरपूल, राइट। तो
या बट इवन इफ
या,
ही लीव्स, इन माय आईज ही इज नॉट अ ट्रेंड।
नहीं यार, वो ट्रेटर तो नहीं है यार। नहीं तो यार, तुम्हें कब जिता के जा रहे हो? अगर प्रीमियर लीग तुम, एज ए लिवरपूल फैन, हम लोगों ने कब जीता लिवरपूल यार? 2 बार वो जिता के गया है इंग्लिश प्रीमियर लीग, तुमको चैंपियंस लीग जिताया है उसने। इट इज यार, हर एक का अपना अपना इट्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू होता है यार, उसको कहाँ है, कहाँ क्या नहीं है, वो ही है, पता है। यही सब यही
या
सब है अपना, और क्या है। जरा पूछूं
ट्रू।
यार, कहाँ रह गए वो?
एरिक फेरन का नाम लिया ना आपने?
हम्म
ट्रेंट अलेक्जेंडर आर्नल्ड आ चुका है हमारी चैट में। हेलो ट्रेंट अलेक्जेंडर आर्नल्ड, बेवफा इंसान, कैसे हो?
अरे ट्रेंट अलेक्जेंडर आर्नल्ड क्यों जा रहे हो रियल मैड्रिड, इससे पूछो भाई।
क्यों जा रहा है तू? तुझे कोई शर्म है कि नहीं?
यार, अरे रितिन भी आ गया। हेलो रितिन।
वहां पे मानस
हेलो
भाई।
भैया, क्या हाल है?
बढ़िया बढ़िया।
हेलो हेलो
और
हेलो।
सर क्या हाल है?
कैसे हो? ऑल गुड। आप सुनाओ,
हाँ,
कैसा चल रहा है?
बस
कल
बढ़िया
हमने
बढ़िया।
बार्सिलोना का मैच कवर किया साथ में। हाँ
हाँ, कल तो काफी मजा आया। कल तो बहुत
हाँ।
सही
ऐसे
गेम
ही।
थी कल दिन।
बस मनीष भाई टाइम थोड़ा निकाल लेना, फिर मनीष भाई को भी बुलाता हूँ अभी अपने चैनल पे।
हाँ, मेरा टाइम का बड़ा यहाँ पे पंगा हो जाता है यार शायद। यहाँ पे
पंगा
एक्चुअली
हो
क्या है
जाता
ना, सुबह सुबह ही कर सकते हैं, जैसे 8 बजे सुबह मेरे टाइम पे।
है।
जैसे आपके शायद
या
9 बज रहे होंगे वहाँ पे ना, उधर पाकिस्तान में 9
हाँ,
बजते हैं
मेरे तो यहाँ
शायद,
9
यहाँ पे
बजे।
हाँ 9 बजते हैं
हाँ
ना। तो वही 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 टाइमिंग का थोड़ा ना दिक्कत हो जाता है, इशू हो जाता है यहाँ पे।
हम्म।
12.5 घंटे, एक तो वेस्ट कोस्ट में हो इस तरफ, तो ना काफी टाइम का बहुत अंतर पड़ जाता है यहाँ पे।
वो एक पाकिस्तानी स्काउसर है, वो जो मैंने सेंट माउंट पे भी आते हैं, आपने देखा होगा, सलमान।
हाँ हाँ
सलमान
हाँ
नाम है
हाँ,
ना उसका?
सलमान, हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ जी, वो तो
हाँ, वो
काफी
पाकिस्तानी स्काउसर है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ
वो
हाँ।
उधर ही रहते हैं, लिवरपूल में।
वो
हाँ।
लिवरपूल में ही रहते हैं ना। हाँ हाँ, वो बताए थे, वो शाहिद शाहिद नाम है ना उनका।
उनको शाहिद आई थिंक।
हाँ
हाँ,
हाँ हाँ
शाहिद
हाँ।
भट्ट करके। हाँ, ऐसा कुछ नाम है। मन का कहीं से
मैं ना
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिल जाए ना
2023।
बंदे को, तो बंदा ट्राई कर सकता है, मैंने उनको बोला।
हाँ, मैं क्या कह रहा था, मैं 2023 में ना मिस इंग्लैंड को मिला था, तो वो भी लिवरपूल से ही थी, और वो भी लिवरपूल
अच्छा,
फैन थी।
लिवरपूल फैन था।
हाँ, वो लाइक वो इंग्लैंड की फर्स्ट रेड हेड थी जो मिस इंग्लैंड बनी थी।
मिस
तो
इंग्लैंड।
कहाँ
हाँ,
कहाँ
और
मिला था?
मैं इंडिया में मिला था। उनका ना इंडिया का टूर होता है, उन्होंने इंडिया
अच्छा।
में थोड़ा करना होता है कि हमें चैरिटी करनी है या डिफरेंट
हम्म।
डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में जाके। तो
हम्म,
वो आई थी, एक इंग्लैंड आई थी और एक रनर अप आई थी। जो रनर अप आई थी वो न्यू कासिल किससे थी, वो न्यू कासिल फैन थी।
ओके ओके।
हाँ, तो मेरे को याद है, मैंने इतनी मुश्किल से इंग्लिश बोली थी ना उनके आगे, उनकी समझ ही नहीं आती।
अरे नहीं, हाँ इट्स यार उनकी इंग्लिश बहुत डिफरेंट होती है। स्काउस भी उसमें जोड़ देते हैं, स्काउस लैंग्वेज जोड़ देते हैं ना, राइट? वो भी हो जाता है यार।
नहीं,
और अभी तो ट्रेंड हॉट टॉपिक चल रहा है हमारे यहाँ, राइट?
हम्म।
भाई शान भाई, आपके यहाँ आईपीएल देखते हैं क्या? पब्लिक देखती है आईपीएल?
यार देखते तो
आईपीएल
हैं, इधर वो टैप मैट पे आता है, उसकी वो सब्सक्रिप्शन लेनी पड़ती है। अब मैं आजकल नहीं देख रहा, मुझे टाइम ही नहीं मिल रहा, बस यही ट्रेंड के मसलों में फंसा हुआ हूँ और फिर पाकिस्तान फुटबॉल के मसलों में फंसा हुआ हूँ, तो उस वजह से टाइम नहीं मिल रहा।
हाँ हाँ हाँ
लेकिन
हाँ
हाँ,
हाँ
लोग देखते हैं यार, लोग देखते हैं।
हाँ। एक मिनट यार, वो अम,
एक्चुअली मैं अभी जस्ट अभी बाहर से आया हूँ। मतलब मेरे घर पे तो पार्टी चल रही है, मेरे पापा का बर्थडे है आज।
अरे रे, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू अंकल।
हाँ, हैप्पी बर्थडे। वो पीछे बाय कर रहा था।
मेरा बेटा है।
नहीं नहीं, सही है।
वो कह रहा है, ट्रेंट अलेक्जेंडर आर्नल्ड कह रहा है मेरे को जाने दो। कह रहा है मेरे को जाने दो। एक मिनट यार, उनको शायद दिक्कत आ रही है ज्वाइन करने में।
हम्म,
एक मिनट मैं,
किसको आ रही है? मैं लिंक भेज देता हूँ।
अरे फोन नंबर मैंने अभी ऐड कर रहा हूँ इनका। एक मिनट यार, मैं उसमें व्हाट्सएप पे भेजता हूँ ना इनको लिंक, तब आएंगे वो।
ओके
एक मिनट
ओके
यार।
ओके, उनको स्काउजर सर को।
हाँ 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 हाँ। तब तक तुम लोग डिस्कशन करो यार, क्या सोचते हो भाई समर ट्रांसफर विंडो का यार?
यार
क्या होगा
हमने
शान
कल
भाई?
बात की है कि
हम्म
राइट बैक हमें चाहिए, लेफ्ट बैक हमें चाहिए,
हम्म हम्म
5
हम्म
साइनिंग्स चाहिए एटलीस्ट, वी नीड
हम्म
5 साइनिंग्स। सो डीएम चाहिए, स्ट्राइकर
हम्म
चाहिए,
हम्म
विंगर चाहिए।
हम्म हम्म
ये तो है, ये 5 साइनिंग्स तो चाहिए हमें। देयर विल बी एन ओवरहॉल डेफिनेटली। देयर
वही।
कंफ्यूज होगा, वेंडरसन टाइप लोग आएंगे या फ्रिम्पोंग टाइप लोग आएंगे।
हम्म,
तो
मेरी ओपिनियन में ये 4 साइनिंग्स करेंगे और बाकी 2 कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्सटेंशन करेंगे, 4+2
मुझे
के
लगता
हिसाब
है
से
3
चलेंगे।
करेंगे, मुझे लगता है 3 करेंगे।
और कौन कौन सी पोजीशंस
जैसे
आपको लग रही है कि करेंगे?
आई थिंक एक हो सकता है आपका ये राइट बैक, दूसरा आपका लेफ्ट बैक, और शायद डीएम आ जाए। अगर डीएम नहीं तो फिर स्ट्राइकर। ये डीएम स्ट्राइकर में से कोई एक होगा, 3 ही होंगी मुझे लगता है। 3 से ऊपर नहीं कर रही है, क्योंकि हमने कोई पैसा नहीं कमाया ना। मतलब वही है ना कि अब इन्होंने अभी सेलिंग्स की थी 100 मिलियन की, ये जो पिछले सीजन है
हम्म
उसमें हमने 100 मिलियन कमाया था। फिर हमें चैंपियंस लीग से भी 100 मिलियन मिलेगा, तो 200 मिलियन तो भी हो गया। जो हमने जितने
हम्म
भी अभी तक प्लेयर्स जाने दिए ट्रांसफर में और लोगों को, तो 200 मिलियन से ऊपर तो है हमारे पास किटी के अंदर। बट आई डोंट
हम्म।
नो हाउ दे विल स्पेंड इट, दे शुड बी स्पेंडिंग इट।
और बायजेटिक का क्या सीन चल रहा है? मतलब वो कैसा परफॉर्म कर रहा है?
बायचैटिक अभी है, और वो क्या नाम है, वो उधर खेल रहा है ना, लास पाल्मस में खेल रहा
ला 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 हाँ, उसमें
है,
बिल्कुल।
लास पाल्मस में खेल रहा है।
लास्ट
उसको 9
पाल्मस पे।
9 फरवरी को इंजरी हो गई थी, फिर उसने आई थिंक अभी तक 6 या 7 मैच खेले हैं, तो ठीक ठाक ही खेला है। बार्सिलोना के खिलाफ भी खेला था, एक मैच में उसने गोल भी मारा था, एक मैच में गोल भी मारा था उसने।
ट्रेंट अलेक्जेंडर कह रहा है नूनू चला जाए, न्यूनेज चला जाए, या फिर वो चला जाए, क्या कहते हैं, जोटा चला जाए।
नोनो के लिए भी 35 45 मिलियन 50 मिलियन
35,
मिलेगा। 45
45 50
45
से ज्यादा कोई देगा नहीं उसके। हाँ सही कह रहे हो।
कोई नहीं
अगर
देगा,
सऊदी
कोई नहीं
सऊदी
देगा।
आ जाए तो ठीक है, उसको दे देगा, सऊदी दे देगा पैसा।
हाँ हाँ, यस।
पर ये भी बात है ना कि इसको अगर वो जाना चाहे सऊदी में, ये भी तो वो भी है ना कि कहाँ जाना चाहेगा, एसी मिलान में खेलना चाहेगा या फिर सऊदी में खेलना चाहेगा,
हाँ
कहाँ खेलना चाहेगा, ये भी है।
यार, ये
मेरे
ट्रेंड
को
को
नहीं
क्योंकि
लगता
किसी को
कि
चाहिए
अभी
था।
नूनो को बेचेंगे। मेरे को नहीं लगता नूनो को बेचेंगे अभी।
नहीं, उसका टाइम हो गया यार। वो उसको सबसे पहले सबसे पहले वो बेचने को तैयार खड़े हुए हैं यार।
ऑफलोड करेंगे
माइक
उसको।
यार, आप ये देखो ना इसको रितिन, कि 3 साल हो गए यार न्यूनेस को आए हुए लिवरपूल में। हमने ऐसे
3
भी
इयर्स हो
कोई
गए।
भी पुराने प्लेयर्स को मतलब आप देखो कितना चांस दे देगा यार, हाउ मेनी चांस, आप कितना चांस ले लोगे यार?
नहीं, पर पता क्या है कि जोटा बहुत ज्यादा इंजर्ड रहता है। अब देखो
नहीं,
ना कि
इंजर्ड तो ठीक है, जोटा ठीक है, इंजर्ड रहता है, लेकिन न्यूनेस की जगह यार वी हैव टू हैव अ प्रॉपर नंबर 9। वो प्रॉपर नंबर 9 नहीं है यार। तुम वो कभी
वो
नंबर
अपना
9,
टेक्निक
वो बेनिफिका में अगर गेम देखो, वो नंबर 9 खेला ही नहीं यार कभी भी। न्यूनेस
खेला ही
कहाँ
नहीं,
खेला है वो
मतलब
नंबर
विंगर
9? एज ए विंगर ही खेला है यार वो। जहाँ डियाज मतलब अभी जैसे गैप को खेलता है या डियाज खेलता है, उस वाली पोजीशन पे खेला है वो बेनिफिका में यार। वो प्रॉपर नंबर 9 था ही नहीं कभी भी, वो पोजीशन तो वही थी उसकी।
It was just because of his physicality and his towering presence के हमने कहा कि यार इसको स्ट्राइकर में खिलाओ।
नहीं, अपना वो लिवरपूल बॉय था ना, डैंस था ना उसका नाम, जो 1-2 मैचेस में स्टार्ट भी किया, वो भी अच्छा है वैसे।
हाँ, वो अच्छा हो सकता है, लेकिन अभी वो बहुत रॉ है, वो भी बड़ा रॉ है अभी, उसका भी यही
यार मुझे लग रहा है उनके टेक्निकल इश्यूज आ रहे हैं शायद।
अच्छा, पहले किसी चैनल पे गए हैं वो?
नहीं, ये पहली दफे ही है। वो तो सिर्फ उन्होंने वो किया था, क्या कहते हैं, ये पॉडकास्ट किया था एक के साथ, लेकिन वो तो फिर लाइव पॉडकास्ट था ना यहाँ पे।
अच्छा।
मैंने लेकिन बताया था उनको कि कैसे ज्वाइन करना है, कैसे नहीं करना यार।
यार मैं जो आपका लिंक है ना, मैं जरा कम्युनिटी पोस्ट में डाल रहा हूँ, मैंने इंस्टा पे स्टोरी तो डाल दी हुई है।
मैं भी डाल देता
लिंक,
हूँ, एक मिनट।
हाँ
इसको जरा कम्युनिटी पोस्ट में डाल दो।
वो भी आ रहा है गैस, दर्शन भी।
दर्शन आएगा?
दर्शन भी आ रहा है। आयान भाई आएंगे?
आयान भाई तो लास्ट टाइम आए थे ना आपके चैनल पे।
हेलो,
बोल रहे थे, कहते आयान भाई भी आ रहे हैं।
अच्छा, ये मैं लिंक पेस्ट कर दिया। ओके,
एक बंदा ज्वाइन तो करे। ये क्या सस्पेंस चल रहा है, कौन ज्वाइन किया है?
क्या हुआ?
Are you there, Manish? Hi, everyone.
Hello, sir. How are you?
हेलो सर।
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
You are on mute, I think. Manish bhai.
हाँ, मनीष सर, यू आर ऑन म्यूट।
Manish sir, you are on mute.
I'm on
yes sir,
mute.
yeah, I can, I now can you hear me sir?
Good.
All good?
Yeah, all good sir, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Manish. All good.
All good sir, how's your health?
Okay. All clear.
Right,
No problems now.
absolutely love to see you here sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, I was telling my Indian fans that you will be joining, so they are excited to meet the real Scouser from Liverpool. they have a lot of questions, sir. all these Indian fans have a lot of questions. So let me introduce, first the panel. He's Shan Obaid sir. He's from
Okay.
Pakistan, and he's
Hi, Shan.
written he's from sir, he's from India, Patiala, from
Okay.
Punjab sir. Yeah,
पंजाब।
From the
yes,
Punjab. Okay.
yeah, from
Yes.
Punjab. And I have already told sir, you can give the introduction to the viewers sir, because
Oh,
I am very small to give the introduction of yours sir.
I'm Eric, of course, and I'm a big Liverpool fan. I started watching Liverpool in 1946, and I've been a fan ever since. I love the club, and we started the Pasadena Reds. I started in the 1980s. And so we've been going for a long time.
That's it. So yeah. So I was actually telling them, you have been a Liverpool fan since 1946. You have been to India, Surat, in 1970s. You have been to a lot of places, right?
Yeah.
So these guys do have some caution, right? Shan, go introduce yourself, and Ritin, you also introduce yourself to Eric, sir.
Eric sir, first of all, it's a privilege to be here and talk to you and share this same screen with you. I have been a fan of Liverpool since 2009, only 16 years, not as long as you, obviously, but yeah, I
You'd have
have
to be
been.
an old man.
I will have to be an old man for that, but I think I still feel 16 years is a long time. It feels like
It's a,
decades to me, but still. And yes, we will talk to you about the whole trend situation and all the contract situation.
yeah.
But yes, we absolutely love Liverpool. And Ritin bhai, you go on.
Sir, I have been following Liverpool from 2005. Like, my uncle introduced me to Liverpool.
Okay.
Like, it's been 20 years. I started following Liverpool after UCL final, mainly. Like, that happened on May 25th, if you remember, like
Yeah.
2005. Like,
Well,
it's been a privilege, na, to see such a big and such a old Liverpool guy.
yeah. Well, I mean, 20 years is a long time. A long
Yes,
time. So
yes,
it's
sir, yes,
16.
sir.
So it's 16 years.
2 decades.
16, sir.
Uh,
All are very like when you started falling. Even my dad was born that time,
uh,
1946.
Yeah.
So, sir, you tell me who was your actually when you started following the Liverpool, who was your favorite player? Who is your current favorite player right now?
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
we want to know about Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley, because we have never seen those managers, because we were never born that time.
Sure.
Yeah, we want to know the experience from you, sir.
Well, you know, I grew up in Liverpool during the Second World War, and so there was a lot of bombing on Liverpool and so on.
Okay.
So all our fathers were away in either in the Merchant Marine or in the forces. And as a matter of fact, I grew up with some one from Sri Lanka and two guys from India. We were a mixed bunch. And one thing we found is that we loved Billy Little. Billy Little was
Billy
one of the
Little.
best
Yeah.
Very
players in the
little.
world at that time. So we all wanted to be Billy Little. And we decided that we loved Billy Little, so we should all support Liverpool. And that was how we started. And at the end of the war, I didn't know my dad. And when he came home, it was in 1946, I was 9 years old. Uh, I found out he was an Everton supporter. So I was in a lot of trouble.
We understand.
But he tried to get me to change and everything, but I wouldn't change. All my friends, we were all the same. And we said, no, we're going to go with Liverpool. So that was it. And, Billy Little became he's a legend at Liverpool.
Legend.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I had the privilege to watch him play. And he was a very strong guy, a lot of pace, winger. But he could also go into the centre forward position. And one season he scored 30 goals in the centre forward position as well. So it was all very good. But we lost our manager around about 1947, 48. And we got a new manager in, and he was an old Liverpool player. I think it was Louis Bimpson. And the club didn't seem
Yeah.
to be going anywhere. It was just sort of, we got relegated to the second division, or what you'd now call the championship,
Yeah.
in 1953.
Yeah.
And every year, the top two teams go up, and every year we seem to come third. And so it was very frustrating. And we had some good young players. But then Liverpool had heard that Bill Shankly was doing very well at Huddersfield. So they went and I actually found out about a month before Liverpool signed him that he was going to join Liverpool. And,
Yeah.
you know, Bill Shankly was one of these people that he was a manager when he was at Huddersfield Town. He was the manager of the team, but on Sundays he would be out playing football with all the guys in an amateur league. So you know he was very, very popular, and he was a real blue collar, how can I say, working class man. So
Okay.
he really loved people, and he came to Liverpool, and basically he changed the whole club. The way everybody looked at the club, you know, Liverpool, Anfield, you know, the Anfield football ground. Well, that was rented by Liverpool, so they had to pay
Okay.
rent on it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And Liverpool wanted to buy some players, and Shankly said, "Well, look, the first thing we need to do is buy the ground, and we'll buy the players later, but let's get the ground done first." So they bought the ground, so then they fully owned the ground, which was a big thing. And then they could start bringing the ground together. Then he bought some players like Gordon Milne, who's a great player. Roger Hunt came in, and Roger Hunt was in the forces the same time as I was. At that time, you had national service, so you got called up for 2 years, and you had to go somewhere, you know.
Yep.
And Roger Hunt come out just as I came out, and he lived in Warrington, about 15 miles from Liverpool. And I watched him make his debut, and he's one of Liverpool's greatest ever players. As a goal scorer, he was
Yeah.
second to none. You know, but then what they did is they signed Ronnie Yeats, and they signed Ian St. John, and all of these guys. And I met Ian St. John and Ronnie Yeats a few times. The first time being the night my son was born, my eldest son Stuart, who lives in Houston now. And I went out with my father-in-law to drink some beer to celebrate. And the pubs in those days closed very early at 10 o'clock at night. So we went to a club. I'm in this club, and who walks in but Ian St. John and Ronnie Yeats. So they asked me, you know, some questions, and we started talking, and I told them it was my son's birth. So we had a great night. It was a great night. And, you know, I met Ian again in Houston about 3-4 years ago. And we had a joke about it, about that night. But Shankly was a great guy. He changed the whole outlook at Liverpool changed completely in the way they approached the games. He wanted honesty in football. He wanted to try and cut the players out from being playboys and stuff like this. And he did so many things. And he got the crowd so that they were with him. I mean, he was more popular than any team player on the team, because he just went out there and he talked to the crowd. He walked down to the cop and he's cheering on the cop and everything. And he was an incredible man. And, you know, Bob Paisley was a midfielder, and he was a very good midfielder. but when Liverpool played in the FA Cup final in 1950, I think it was, he was dropped for the game. And, you know, no one ever understood why, but he was dropped. And later on, he retired, and he got a job with Liverpool as in a low position, but he worked himself up so that he was the guy then that was training the people and treating their injuries and all this stuff. It wasn't the way it is now with all these doctors and everything. It was pretty crude. But he was a very intelligent guy, Bob Paisley, and he could see a player on the field, and if he went down, he knew what it was right away. He could figure it all out, and he was famous for doing that sort of thing. And then Shankly asked him, would he become the assistant manager instead of just being the physio? And so he agreed. So you could see the influence of Bob Paisley on Bill Shankly in the way they started to play the football as well, in that they established this, what I call diamond pattern of the way they passed the ball around. They did a lot of things that other teams hadn't done. You know, in the old days, you get all these players training nowadays, and they're training with the ball, etc. In the 40s and 50s, they didn't do that. They used to just run. I mean, it was crazy. And so they had no training with that. Bill Shankly was one of the original guys who turned around and said, this is stupid. We've got to start playing with the... So he introduced this where the players trained with the ball all the time. And you could see the difference in Liverpool and then how they came up. And, you know, they won the title in 63, 64. I was at the game that they actually got when they won the title. They won the first FA Cup in 65, 66. And, you know, they went on like this. And you could see these two guys working so closely. And then Bill said he was going to retire, and Bob Paisley took over. And he was more of a thinker. So he's the guy that strategized how it went. And to me, if you consider that in 9 seasons he won 6 league titles, you can see what a manager he was and the kind of influence. He's one of the greatest managers of all time.
For Liverpool.
Good.
And for anyone else too.
Right.
Because there's nobody done that. You know, Alex Ferguson won a lot of titles, but they were spread over 20-something years. This is a guy who won three Champions Leagues, 6 titles. He won the FA Cup. He won everything.
Bob Paisley.
The only one he didn't win was the League Cup. He didn't win that one. But the FA Cup and all the rest of it, he won. He beat Real Madrid in one final, you know, in Paris, in the Champions League final. And he was a tremendous manager. But between those two, they set the record for how Liverpool were going to perform. And the other guy that took over from Paisley, a lot of people don't know what Paisley. He sort of retired, and he was one of these guys. He's very low key. Players loved him because he never shouted at anybody. But they said you went in his office, he told you something, and when you left, you just realised you just had your ass kicked. You know, he was like that. But he retired, and a lot of people were wondering why is he just retired. But my niece is a nurse, and she told me that he'd been put into the caring home that she worked in, and he had Alzheimer's. And so, you know, his wife used to be there every morning. He didn't know her. stuff like this. It was very sad, but that's the reason that he retired. And then they took Joe Fagan. He was another one of the boot room boys, and he won the double. You know, he won the league, he won the Champions League, and he was another one. But Joe was, again, he was a guy, he actually lived in a house very close to Anfield. No big posh houses for him. He just lived where he always lived and did that. So so some of these guys were absolute gems, you know. If I look at Kenny Dalglish coming into the team, he was a brilliant player. You know, Kevin Keegan. I mean, Kevin Keegan, they signed for next to nothing from Scunthorpe United. He was totally unknown, and he was playing in the reserve time and team. And Shankly turned round and said, "This guy, he's going to make it." And he put him in the first team. And I remember he scored a goal in his first game. And he became, you know, one of the top. Well, he was voted the top player in Europe. You know, so there was a lot of those guys, and I think I can only say the only bad manager that I think we've had in all those years since is Roy Hodgson. Everyone else has done something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
I
Right.
actually had a question because you talked
Yep.
about a lot of players. So there are two goalkeepers, Bruce Grobbelaar and also Ray Clemens. I'm
Yeah.
sure you must have seen them in your time. And many people compare them with Alisson as well. Who is the greatest goalkeeper in your opinion of Liverpool?
Of Liverpool?
Yeah, Liverpool.
Well, for me, it's Ray Clemens.
Like he's
I
better
mean-
than Alisson for you?
Oh no, I think quite honestly, Alisson to me I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world for me, and I think when he's finished his career at Liverpool, I think he will go down as the best goalkeeper ever.
That's
The-
right.
you know, I look at players in different ways. Everyone says this guy's the greatest player of all time, or that guy's the greatest player.
Yeah.
But it depends on the generation. And so
Yeah.
what I do is I say Billy Little was the best player of his generation, or Tom Finney from Preston. You know, and to me, Tom Finney was one of the greatest footballers of all time. Played for England, etc. And he played for Preston North End. But at that generation, that's where he was. And you go through, you know, I had the privilege when I was working in Rio de Janeiro, I watched Pelé play, and to me, he was the greatest player of all time. But you have to also say, in his generation, nobody could touch him. He was just absolutely outstanding. Ray Clemens, over the years, he never had a bad season. He was just a super goalkeeper and so on. But if I look at Alisson, in all honesty, I'd say that Alisson is probably the better goalkeeper. If you look at modern football, that they have to read the game, they have to play with the feet, etc. I don't think there's anyone in the game that's so safe when he comes off his line to cut a player out, who's an attacker out. It's very few that get past him. You know, and I think that's something that's often overlooked by the fans. But he does it all the time. And Liverpool play a high line with attacking. There's a counter attack, and you can rely on Alisson all the time to go and stop those guys.
Right.
But a lot of great players. I mean, I think the team we've got right now, I think we've got some absolutely great players in there.
100%. Yeah.
100%. So let us take the comments, sir, from the from the fans from India. So
Yeah.
they have concern that why do match going fans and Scouser protest against FSG when ticket price is raised by £2, right? And they don't protest when three of their legendary players are going for free.
Also, I want to add something in this one. Recently, we have also observed this, that the older Scousers are like very loud, but the younger Scousers, they are not like that loud during the game. They are very like mellow. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I think I think what you really have to do is go inside the stadium.
Yeah,
You know, I've got like I've got a guy now. He's a Pasadena Red, and he'll be traveling to Liverpool in a couple of days' time with his
yeah.
girlfriend to watch the game against Everton. And he went 3 weeks ago also, and he was saying to me that the crowds are absolutely unbelievable, the noise and everything else, and that's part of the thing. Sometimes you don't pick it up on the mics, and sometimes you do. But I I think one of the differences in the old crowd, if you like, Scousers, is when I lived over there, and I used to go to the game. I had a season ticket for the Cup, but in those days, the Cup held 27,000 people just in the Cup. Whereas now I think it's not sure it's 12 or 18,000. So the cup was world famous for the noise, as you can well imagine, with 27,000 people behind the goal, and when they're singing, etc., then it's a tremendous noise. But Margaret Thatcher introduced this sitting room only at the grounds after the Hillsborough disaster. And so the COP lost a lot of its room, and so it reduced the capacity big time.
So basically, sir, the problem here, the Indian fans thinks that FSG is not doing much more that they should do, right? So the Indian fans, like in India, they are very angry with FSG. That why it took so late that the three top players have not yet got the contracts, or they have not extended the contracts, right?
Yeah, and I understand that, Manish, and I don't think anyone really has figured out why it wasn't done. You know, there was a change was coming. There's no doubt about that. With regards to like Klopp had told them previously that he was going to leave, so they should have been trying to get these players done. But there was going to be a big change.
Right.
For me, I'm not angry at FSG. I don't want the players to leave, and I understand the policy. But I honestly believe that FSG is probably the best owners that Liverpool have had since the war. And you have to understand, if you look at the two Americans that owned the club before then, you
Exactly.
know, yeah, well, these guys basically bankrupted the club.
Yeah,
I,
that's true.
in fact, I was reading an article on it yesterday in the Liverpool Echo, and they were saying that these guys, they didn't put their own money in, they borrowed the money to buy Liverpool, and then Liverpool had to pay the money back, not them.
Right.
And they screwed the finances up so badly that Liverpool were paying in interest £100,000 per day.
That is
I
too
mean,
much.
it was just on the road to
1,000
it's on the road to
£1,000
bankruptcy.
per day. Yep.
It's crazy.
I
It's
never
like
knew.
GDP of a country, है ना?
I
GDP of a
never.
country.
Yeah, I never knew about that. I was in that era, like Gillette and Hick era. I never knew that they were paying £1,000 per day. never knew that things, because there was no social media around that time, right, sir?
That's
At the
right.
Gillette, yep, that at the Gillette and Hick era, yeah, so that we never knew this thing as an Indian fan, and as a Pakistani fan, we never knew that, right, Shan?
No,
And
well,
yep,
very
of
few
course we,
people do.
yep. Yeah, because the local people only knew all these things about like what because we at that time you knew that Gillette and Hick are not doing well, and we never knew that for these things it was the spirit of Shankly and the Scousers
Yeah,
protested
yeah,
against Gillette and Hick era, right?
yeah.
So
Well, go ahead. Well, Spirit of Shankly is it's the fans, of course, and they
Fans.
I joined the Spirit of Shankly when Gillette and Hicks were in charge, and the guy who used to run the Spirit of Shankly, a lot of people think everyone's just a working class supporter. The guy who actually was one of the originators in the Spirit of Shankly had a PhD, and he was a very intelligent guy, and he actually set up a movement to try and buy the club for the fans from Gillette and Hicks, and they couldn't get enough money. I offered to put money. Everybody did. It was all put our own money in and try buy the club back, but we couldn't do it. We couldn't get enough money. So they still, what they did is they didn't realize, FSG did not realize that English soccer, football is different to the way sports are run in the United States,
right,
and it's totally different, as you know. And the fans have a big say, and they, for instance, in the United States, you can buy a baseball club, say from New York, and move it to Los Angeles, and all those fans in New York, well, where's our team gone? Well, we've got no team. And you can't do that in the UK. The fans would never accept it. So, that's the way that is. But they were doing this, and they got together with FSG, and they told them this is the way it is. The fans don't like what you're doing, etc., etc. So they took the Spirit of Shankly. So they took, I think it's 2 or 3 representatives of the Spirit of Shankly who now sit on the board,
right.
on the management board.
On the
So
on the FSG board, right, sir?
yes, yes,
Okay,
and so they discuss everything, including price of tickets,
okay,
and Liverpool have gone, and I think they've increased the price of tickets this year, I think. But if you look at Liverpool and ticket price increases, it's it's one of the best in the whole league, because they listen to the Spirit of Shankly. They had not increased the price of tickets for about 6 years, whereas Manchester United are increasing the price of their tickets even again. They do it all the time. Their fans are saying, "Why can't you be like Liverpool?" So
right,
there's a lot of good, and I think what I like about FSG is they set up a system that says we're going to buy young players. We're going to see if we can get those players as young, but also for a good price. So instead of being like Chelsea, who go out and, well, we spend 100 million on this and 50 million on this, they won't do that. Everton nearly went bankrupt through doing it, but they
right,
don't. They say, no, let's study it. They brought in these guys who can analyze the games, and they've done a super job in that, and figuring out who's the best player to sign. It's no longer, when I was a kid, someone would say, "Oh, we like that player, let's go and buy him," and you didn't know if he was going to fit into your team or not. They just bought them, you know. Whereas now these players are analysed like hell, and so you can have a fairly confident feeling that you're going to get there. But FSG have done that. They've brought the fans on board so that you've got spirit of Shankly, and I think that there's no danger of Liverpool getting in financial trouble with them. But at the same time, I think every now and again, if they see a player that they think is necessary for the club, whether it's big time money or not, they'll buy him. So the money is there, and they'll buy the player. And I think that's what they're going to do this summer. I think that there's some players they'll buy that are not so expensive, but they're good players. And then you've got this Isaac. Whether they buy Isaac or not, I don't know. None of us know, but they've been certainly scouting him. So there we are.
So let me introduce Sir Lala. His name is Ayush.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So Ayush has a YouTube channel. So he's the YouTuber.
Okay,
We are-
good.
yeah. So and he's from and he lives in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
He's
Ayush,
closer.
you can go and you can ask your any questions. This is
Like I don't have a question per se, but like like what he said about FSG, I somewhat agree to that as well. Like in my streams as well, I've talked about it a lot. Like they are like if you go through the whole Premier League, they are like at least in the top six, the traditional top six. They are one of the best owners. We can't obviously we can't debate that, because from the time they bought our club and right now at the position we are, no one can argue that. Like they have done good work. They have expanded the stadium as well and built them when access center and stuff like that. But the thing is, my main complaint I would say is that sometimes when they need to back up the manager, in their off Klopp as well, when they needed to back him, they did the bare minimum. Like the last, I remember the last defender per se, or like last centre back signing was Konate, right? Like Kwanzaa came
Yeah.
up through the ranks. We needed at one point, like last year as well, we needed one more centre back who was good enough to help out Konate and Van Dijk. But we used Kwanzaa because he came up through the ranks. Again, he has very less experience, but again, he has that potential. But again, we needed a good centre back to help those two guys out. Maybe we could have done something different by the end of the end of the league, but it is what it is. We know that they do the bare minimum as well. But when push comes to the shove, they have invested in the squad. We can't deny that as well. But I feel this time around, it's more or less a clean slate. Like Trent is also going, so I am disappointed but glad in a way, because Slot will get his way and it'll be a clean slate for everyone, in my opinion. And I think this time around they don't have any excuses of sort that we can't invest in the squad and stuff like that, because this time around we need investments like on the left back, in the midfield
Yeah.
as well. Maybe if Nunez is sold, then clearly we need a good striker, because I have always like Shan knows that I have always maintained that point of view that if Jota stays fit, he can win us the league every single season, because he has that quality. The thing is, he can't stay fit right now, so we need a good striker. And he said that like Isak is being linked to us. And
Yeah, well, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I couldn't understand that first. For instance, last season, we bought some players, but when Klopp went, they did the smart thing. We didn't buy anybody in January, but it was a smart thing to do, and I think that it's what Slot wanted to do. He didn't want to buy new players, because what he's doing the right thing. He's looking at all of these players that are playing now, and he's giving every one of them a chance.
absolutely.
And at the end of the season, then he's made his mind up. He knows who can make it in the way I want the team to go, and where do I have to buy? And I think that's what he's done. And I'm really grateful that he's done that. You know, he's a very smart manager. There's no doubt about that. And I think for that reason, now you're seeing, you know, this changes and so on. That they're going to make some signings. But you know, the other thing is that we had Joe Gomez, and Joe Gomez is a very, very good full centre back, but he can play right back, left back, and he's a good footballer, but he's also injury prone.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where that's, I think, one of the reasons we need a new centre back.
Yeah.
It's not because someone's playing bad. I think the three that we've got are very, very good. But
Few of them
Gomez,
fit.
you need 4 centre backs nowadays, you know, just because of the injuries that goes in, everything else. So I think that's the right thing to do.
And you know what? Like, I know a lot of Liverpool fans, even I'm taking that Isak rumor with a pinch of salt. But you know, why do I somewhat believe it can happen as well? Because Isak would be the signing of Isak would be the signing of like Van Dijk when he came to Liverpool, like that statement signing when we needed someone, and
Sure.
he lifted us from that defensive woes, right? So Isak could be the one, and we know that when it comes to like Edwards, Hughes, or like Julian Ward, they have done these kind of signings when required, because they know that if Isak wants to come, if Isak is interested in joining Liverpool, we will get him no matter what, because they know that for the upcoming 6-7 years, our attacking lineup is sorted, at least through the striker, through the middle. We are sorted about it. We don't have to look again like because of newness. Like we thought that he will work out, but suddenly he didn't. Same happened with when we I know it's not like for like example, but when we wanted to buy Simicas, there were rumors with the left back from Newcastle. I don't remember his name, or Newcastle, or probably he was playing with Norwich at that time. I don't remember his name, but he refused. He said that I'm not that much interested in Liverpool, and we straight back went to Simicas and bought him. So I think in summer as well, we will buy those kind of players who genuinely want to join Liverpool, like Frimpong. He has said that outrightly in media that I love Liverpool and I want to join Liverpool. And I feel like that would be one of the reasons whosoever we buy will make sure that he really wants to play for Liverpool.
Yeah, you know, and you mentioned Frimpong, and I'm a big fan of Frimpong. He's a lot of players don't realise it, but he's a wing back.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
so I watched him playing last week for the Netherlands, and I have an interest in the Netherlands because I lived in the Netherlands for 11 years. But but Frimpong, you know, you've got to remember, if you sign Frimpong, what's going to happen to Conor Bradley? I believe Conor Bradley is about to sign a new contract for Liverpool.
Yeah.
A 5-year contract.
Yeah.
And he's been told he will be the number 1 choice. But I would still like to sign Frimpong if I could, because what I would do is play him on the wing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he can score goals. And when I watched him the other day against Spain, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, he was.
And like for the whole 120 minutes, he was at it. He was at it.
Like
He's
Going back and forth the whole 120 minutes.
He was like Robertson in his prime on the other side.
he was giving 100%.
I mean, you know, you've got like Robertson, you just mentioned. Robertson, I loved Robertson, but, you know, he's now getting on and he's lost some pace, there's no doubt.
Age is catching up.
His legs are gone,
there's
actually.
No doubt. But I mean, Kerkez plays for Bournemouth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I believe that Liverpool will sign him.
I believe as well.
Absolutely. I think so. He'll be the number one signing, the first signing for
Yeah.
Liverpool in the
I
summer.
think I think that
Kirkus.
rumor and that signing has written is like McAllister signing written all over it. Like we started the legwork before 3-4 months back. This is
Yeah.
what's happening
Shoe
with
signing.
Kirkus as well. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like
he's
go ahead.
you know, he's a great footballer. He's got pace. He's got the whole thing. He's very difficult to knock off the ball. And the great thing for Liverpool is that Hughes, who's a director of football, was the director of football at Bournemouth.
Right.
So he knows him. And it's
But
the
I
same.
actually wanted to ask you, Hughes came in April 2024.
Yeah.
How did you see his signing at that point of time by the club? Because now it has been like 10 months, I think, 10 or 11 months. How do
Yeah.
you see Richard Hughes right now in this whole scenario?
Well, I think that, you know, I look at it this way. Michael Edwards is now the boss of all soccer throughout FSG.
Yeah. Yes.
And Michael Edwards knew the guy. He knew how good he was. He knew all his strengths and so on. And so he is the guy that said we should sign him. And up to yet, I think he's done a good thing, but we'll find out really in the summer.
Yeah.
But from what I read is that he's been checking players out, etc. And I know that he's talked to two people. Is what's his name, Kerkez, and also Housen.
Houston, yes.
And Housen to me is a guy that I really like. What is he, 19?
Yes, he's 19. Yep.
19.
And you know, this guy is going to be a truly great player. I can see it. He's very composed. He can play football. He's excellent in the air because I think he's something like 6'4" or 5, and he's got pace as well. I mean, to me, I'd sign him tomorrow.
But you know what? I feel like we will only sign Kirkes and not Hoyston, even though I really would like him. But it won't be that easy to negotiate with Bournemouth as well because they're doing good as well this season, right? And they would prefer to continue this next season as well. And if you see it from that way, Kirkes, Hoyston, and even Semenyo as well is being linked with Arsenal. So I don't think so. They'll be ready to lose all of the three players in one window, and in my opinion, they won't be able to replace as well all those three qualities in one window.
No, well, if they have to replace three of those players, then I'd say it's a big problem. But I don't believe they do. They'll lose Alexander Arnold. That's pretty clear that he's going to Real Madrid.
Yep.
So okay, you've got Conor Bradley. He'll need some support. But in fact, I was reading just this morning that in the Liverpool Echo that Mo Salah, they've made excellent progress on his new contract.
Right.
And
Even I have heard.
In Egypt, they're already saying that he's going to stay at Liverpool. Van Dijk, I believe, Van Dijk to me is the most important out of all of them.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I think he's the best centre back in the world, and so I really want him to stay. He's got everything, and I think he loves the football club, so I think he will. I think he will stay. So if those two stay, then and they're going to sell Nunez. There's no doubt about that. I agree with you on Jota. Is that if he was fit, we wouldn't need to sign anybody because I think he's a great false number 9 and he scores goals. But his fitness levels is the problem, you know.
Right.
But I think they may sell Simicast and keep Robertson, so they sign a new left back. They definitely need a new left back. So if Kerkez comes, I don't know. I mean, every player we're linked with, you see that Arsenal are linked with. And we went through this some years ago with every player that we were linked with, Tottenham were linked with, because they just follow, okay, these guys are good at what they do. Let's see who they're going to sign. And then they try to sign them, but I think that it's going to be difficult, but the making's there for a great team next season.
Okay, right. Okay, sir. So let us take the comments. Sir, according to you, which was the greatest signing in LFC history, Liverpool history?
That's a tough one. I would say probably Kenny Dalglish.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. Agreed.
If you ever watched the FA Cup final back in the 70s, his first cup final that he played in, we played against Club Brugge from Belgium, and they were playing very defensive, etc. And I always remember how he had his back to the goal and he turned and he beat the centre back and scored, and we won the cup based on that goal. He's done so many great things for Liverpool. He's won a title for Liverpool as a manager. He's done the whole thing, and he's a true man for the club. You won't hear anything said wrong about the club. And I think, we've had some great players coming in. Going back over the years, there's been absolutely some great players. Right. But I think Kenny is the guy for me.
And this is, if you could bring back one Liverpool legend to play in today's teams, what would it be?
Well, I would say there's two players. I mean, Jan Molby played midfield, or Alan Hansen. There's been lots of guys, and that gets down to the generation thing again. You've had Suarez and all these guys coming in. And Suarez is a great player. He was a great player. There's been so many of them. And it's difficult to say, well, this guy... But I do know, if I looked at Liverpool, Alan Hansen, I mean, the guy was just such an outstanding footballer as a centre-back. And he did everything.
Right.
And it's a guy I like.
Sorry to cut you, sir. Lala, thank you.
Thank
you for your time.
It was great talking to you guys. Take care.
Take care.
No, take care. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you for your time. I think so.
Sir. I have I have one question to ask. Actually, I want to ask your take on Gordon, sir. Anthony Gordon. Do you see him as a Liverpool player in future?
I wouldn't have minded him coming to Liverpool. I think he's a very good player. But if I had a fault in his game, it was his diving. When he played for Everton, he was notorious for flopping on the floor all the time. Then Newcastle have got rid of a lot of that, but he still does it occasionally. But to me, he's an outstanding player. There's no doubt about that. And, he hasn't made up his mind whether he's a Liverpool fan, a Newcastle fan, or whatever.
Everton.
This week he says he's Newcastle. Last week he was saying it was Liverpool.
His family is following Liverpool.
Yeah.
His family is a Liverpool, no?
Yeah, he's a Scouser.
But still he is in two minds, right? He has to be a Scouser or he has to be a Newcastle fan. That's the problem there.
That's right.
He needs to make a decision on that.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I think so. 1 hour time is very less, but
Yep.
I will bring you, Eric sir. I'll bring Stuart sir also. I'll bring Russell sir also on the channel. All three of you, because
Yep.
Indian fans would like to meet you. All three of you. So they
Well,
wanted to. They all wanted to know about the experience, because 1 hour time is very less. Because
Very less.
I just opened the channel. This is an open forum channel, Eric sir. So
Yep.
any Indian fan can join, and they can ask the question, because they had a lot of question. We want to meet the Scouser, the proper Scouser. So I thought Eric sir is the best man, to answer their questions.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really pleased to meet you.
yeah. Same here, sir.
And
And
so
I'll see you
I've
at.
got two more friends,
And sir,
Pakistani friends.
you have given us a lot of hope as well. You have given us a lot of hope regarding
Bill-
the Salah and
you know,
Thank you.
sir,
Virgil van Dijk.
no, sir, when you telling the stories na, I was getting goosebumps. मतलब literal goosebumps.
Yeah.
मतलब I was enjoying your every moment na.
Well, we'll
So-
do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it
Definitely,
again,
no,
sir.
definitely, definitely.
I'll bring Stuart sir and Russell sir
Russell.
also on the channel.
Well, that'll be perfect.
Yep,
They'll enjoy it too.
I'll slowly and gradually also bring the OLSC Pasadena Red guys, and I'll see you
Okay.
at Everton game, sir. Take care.
Yes, we will.
Yep.
Okay, Manish.
Thank you.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you. Take
Okay,
care.
sir.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Bye.
Take care,
Bye.
sir.
Bye,
Take
sir.
care. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
हाँ भाई.
Great session, boys. Great session.
नहीं, great session, actually great session. मजा आ गया.
Great. ये तो कमेंट ले लो भाई, तुम लोगों के लिए
हाँ.
कमेंट है
बाकी
सर.
सॉरी यार जिसके कमेंट्स नहीं लिए
हाँ, नहीं.
माफ कर दो जिसके
ये कह रहे
आज हम ना खो गए थे, आज हम डूब गए थे एक्चुअली.
तो
आज हम
हिस्ट्री
खो गए
हिस्ट्री में डूब गए थे. अभी तो भाई ये तो देखो कितने पुराने हैं. 46 में तो मेरे डैड पैदा
हाँ,
हुए थे.
46 में तो 9 साल के थे ये.
हाँ,
अब
9 साल
46
के
में 9 साल के थे.
9 साल के.
37 born हुए.
जब पता है 1947 में लिवरपूल वन द लीग व्हेन ही वाज फॉलोइंग मतलब लिवरपूल
Right.
जब ये फैन बने
हाँ.
तो 46-47 वाला जो सीजन था उसमें लिवरपूल टाइटल जीती थी जो फर्स्ट डिवीजन थी.
राइट. अरे
So-
ये तो अभी तो एक है यार, बहुत सारे यहाँ पैसेडीना में बहुत सारे हैं यार, बहुत सारे हैं. उनकी अलग अलग कहानियां, अलग अलग स्टोरीज हैं सबकी यार. वही मैं कह रहा हूँ ना कि मैं इसीलिए तो नहीं बोल रहा कि चैनल को लाइक करो, सब्सक्राइब करो. इट इज एन ओपन फोरम यार. कोई भी आए, कोई भी आके क्वेश्चन पूछ सकता है, कोई भी कर सकता है यार. आई हैव
चलो
ओपन
भाई,
दिस
मैं
चैनल.
निकलता
चलो
हूँ.
शान, चलो
हाँ.
बाय, टेक केयर.
हाँ, मैं आता हूँ कमेंट्स में आपके, ठीक है.
शान भाई
Okay.
मिलते हैं, ठीक है. बता देना जब भी
मिलते हैं.
करना हो, ठीक है. ओके बाय.
ठीक है सर, मैं आपके साथ करता हूँ.
काफी सही था यार सेशन, बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा सेशन था. मतलब मजा आ गया मेरे को.
तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि सबके लिए ओपन है यार ये सब चैनल. इट्स एन ओपन फोरम. कोई भी आए, कोई भी जाए. इट्स एन ओपन फोरम. चलो फिर अभी
चलो.
संडे को मिलते हैं, डिस्कस करते हैं गेम्स के बारे में,
ठीक
जो
है, ठीक है,
गेम्स आ रहे
ठीक है.
मंडे ट्यूसडे को.
हाँ, ठीक है. दर्शन क्यों नहीं आया? दर्शन भी कह रहा
दर्शन
था.
नहीं, दर्शन का अपना वो चल रहा था ना लाइव, तो मैंने टाइम चेंज कर दिया था, तो मैं टाइम जानता नहीं था एक्चुअली.
ओके 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 ओके. चलो चलो, हैव अ नाइस डे भैया.
चलो रितिन, टेक केयर, गुड नाइट.
ओके बाय, गुड नाइट भैया.